All right, this video is on Chapter 8, and Chapter 8 was polynomials and adding, subtracting, multiplying, and factoring. So this was a big one. All right, so adding polynomials. Add like terms. Don't change the exponent. And then subtracting, distribute the negative first, and then add like terms. All right, so number one, first thing, you got to rewrite it. 5a to the fifth plus 2a to the third. You have to distribute the negative first. So now it's negative 4a to the fourth, and then a negative negative is a positive 3a to the third. Make sure you rewrite it distributed. And then this is the circles and squares, add like terms. There's only one of these. And there's one of these. And then there's two of these. So we're going to add those, and that's your final answer. So 5a to the fifth minus 4a to the fourth, and then 3 plus 2 is 5 of the a cubes. And number two, since it's a plus sign, we don't have to distribute. So we can just rewrite it. 3x cubed minus 4x squared plus 7x plus 4x cubed plus 5x squared plus 8x. All right, let's get all of our like terms and do it in descending order. So if we add all the x cubes, we have 7 of those. If we add all the x squareds, negative 4 plus 5 is 1 of those. And then we're going to add all the x's. 7 plus 8 is 15 of those. And I think that's it. So remember, when you're adding and subtracting, do not change the exponent. They stay the same. Now when you multiply, this is a different story. When you multiply the coefficients, but you add the exponents. Here's where you actually add the exponents. So let's try number 3. So we're going to distribute 5n to the third power into every piece. So we multiply the coefficients. 5 times 3 is 15, and we add the powers. And then minus. Multiply the coefficients to get 20. Add the powers. Remember, there's a secret 1, so 3 plus 1 is 4. And then minus. Multiply the coefficients. And there's no powers to add, so it just stays n to the third. Now number 4, if there's 2 terms in the first parenthesis, we have to double distribute. So I'm going to do the 2x first, but then we're going to also have to do the negative 7. All right, 2x times 5x is 10x squared. 2x times 2 is 4x. And then we do the same thing with the negative 7 to both. Negative 7 times 5x is negative 35x. Negative 7 times 2 is negative 14. And then you look and see if there's any like terms, and it looks like the 2 in the middle are. So final answer, 10x squared. If you add these together, you get minus 31x, and then minus 14. All right, number 5, same thing, double distribute. So we've got to do the 5x to both, and then we have to do the negative 8 multiplied to both. So 5x times 5x is 25x squared. 5x times 8 is 40x. Negative 8 times 5x is negative 40x. And negative 8 times 8 is negative 64. Now, remember, something weird's going to happen when they're exactly the same but opposite. The middle terms are going to cancel, And we're left with 25x squared minus 64. Done. Now, when you have a binomial squared, you have to remember to write it times itself, right? Write it twice, exactly the same twice. And then, just like number 4 and 5, double distribute. So multiply the 2x to both, and then multiply the negative 3 to both. So 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. And negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Now, in this case, the middle terms are not going to cancel because they were not opposite. So add them together. Final answer, 4x squared minus 12x plus 9. All right, so that's adding, subtracting, and multiplying. On the back, we are going to factor, which is kind of like dividing. All right, always, always, always look for a GCF first. Now, I do this a little bit different. Let's make this guess and check. So when it's a trinomial of 3 terms, you try factoring by guess and check. When there's a difference of 2 squares, right? So like something squared minus something squared, that's when it's like if x squared is x and x, 9 is 3 and 3, 1's plus and 1's minus. So you use this when there are 2 terms, a negative sign, and they're both perfect squares. And then factor by grouping is when there are 4 terms, and this is where you pull out the GCF of each pair. You know, there's not one of these on here, so let's do this one. So out of the first 2 terms, we can pull out an x squared. And if you divide out an x squared, you're left with x plus 3. And then in the next pair, we can divide out a 4, and you're left with x plus 3. And then notice they both have an x plus 3, so we pull that out. And then everything left goes in the next one, x squared plus 4. Now, you would want to do more, but this is a plus sign, so it's not one of these. So you're actually done right here. All right, so let's try this. So solve by factoring. Okay, so this one is a trinomial, so we're going to do guess and check. So if it's 2x squared, we need a 2x and a 1x. And then we need 2 numbers that multiply to 6, but keep in mind the inners plus the outers have to add to negative 11. So you got to be a little careful. So let's see. To multiply to 6 can be 1 and 6 or 2 and 3. So, and then they both have to be positive or both have to be negative, but because this one's negative, they're both going to be negative. So strategically put one of these pairs of numbers in, and it looks like if we put the, let's see, you know what? Now that I'm looking at this one, I think this should actually be a minus 6. Yeah, let's pretend that was a minus 6. And then it would be one of each. I want to say by guess and check, this would be a 6 and this would be a 1. Because negative 12 plus 1 is negative 11. Yeah, this was a typo. That should have been a minus. And then if you set them equal to 0 and solve, you say when does 2x plus 1 equal 0? And when does x minus 6 equal 0? And then if you draw the wall and solve, this one ends up being negative 1/2, and this one ends up being positive 6 when you solve. So sorry about that typo. Lastly, number 8, I got to hurry because the bell's about to ring. We got to get everything to one side, so I'm going to move this guy over here. Positive 3x cubed minus 48x equals 0. And then this one, there's definitely a GCF of 3x. So if you divide both by 3x, you get x squared minus 16. But we're not done because this is the difference of two squares, x plus 4, x minus 4. And then if you set them all equal to 0, we get our three answers. This one, x equals 0. This one, x equals negative 4. This one, x equals positive 4. All right, chapter 8, that was a big one. Thanks for watching.